Hello backpackers, this is Juan from Juan Backpacks. I'm here today to do a first look of the Outdoor Vitals Ventus Hoodie. I'm most excited about this piece of gear for the 2022 season. This is the thing that I couldn't wait to get my hands on. I saw it in a Kickstarter that they were running. I got it in the first round of Kickstarter, and I just got this 2 or 3 months ago. And I have been using it a little bit, not enough to do a full review yet, but I will mention some of my experiences with it so far. Mostly it's just wearing around town and so forth, or wearing on my runs when it gets really cold out. So let's first take a look at some of the features of the Ventus Hoodie, maybe a little bit too about why I'm bringing it into my clothing system. Well, I'm bringing it in my clothing, we'll start there. Clothing, why, right? So I'm bringing in my clothing system because I needed something like a mid layer that I could use when it's really cold. I have a mid layer now that I'm very comfortable with in probably 3 seasons, but when it does get colder on the edge of those seasons, I'd like some mid layer that's a little bit more, insulated and offers a little bit more warmth. Also, when I'm backpacking in the colder seasons, like heading into winter, heading just out of winter, maybe even some winter, I wanted some kind of insulated active layer that I could wear on the outside, being the only thing, and other than my wicking layer, and keep me warm while I'm active and actually hiking. And I think this piece is going to accomplish that from what I've experienced so far with some of my running in colder temperatures and some of the other things I've experienced and seen with this piece of equipment. So let's take a quick look at the Ventus Hoodie and some of the features that drew me to it. First of all, quarter zip. Love quarter zips. This is a pretty short quarter zip, but I like it a lot because I do not like zippers going the whole way down the front. I feel like you lose heat that way, and obviously it adds a little bit of weight, and I like things that are light. So the front zip is great. You can adjust it based on how hot you are, how warm you are. You can zip it up and down and adjust it and control the heat really effectively using the zipper system. I found that so far in the times I've used it. When you zipper it up the whole way, it's got elastic around the hood, and it does a nice job of coming into your face and cutting down on some of the gaps without being like overly restrictive. So I feel like it's kind of that perfect kind of fit, and fit in terms of a hoodie and coming around your face. You can even wear a hat with it, and there's no problem there because the elastic goes over top the bill of the hat, and you're in good shape with the hood. So I really like the hood design on this. I think they got it just right. The other thing I like about the Ventus Hoodie is the vents here under both armpits. They're pretty substantial vents, and they've got holes in them and a very light material. And so far my use with this garment, I found them to be right on in terms of expelling heat, getting rid of unnecessary heat, but yet not to the point where you're feeling cold. And that's on both the armpits, obviously. The other thing that I really liked about the Ventus Hoodie, the other feature here, is the back of it. And I'm going to hold it up here because you should be able to see how the back is kind of rounded, drops down. So it drops down your back below the mid part of your back and down further. And what that does is it allows you to bend over and do work and do things with your tent and so forth without having your jacket ride up in the back and get a cool draft up your back. I think that was like something that they thought of ahead of time and built it into the garment, and I think that's spot on there. The other feature that is part of this Ventus Hoodie is a little loop in each one of the sleeves. It's not really a loop to wear like you'll see a sun hoodie. It has the thumb loop, and it's made to bring the sleeve up over your hand. This is really just for putting the garment on when you're using it as an underlayer, and so when you do that, you can use these loops so that your sleeve doesn't come up your arm while you're doing that. The arms each have a reflective tape the whole way around it. I think that's nice. I do run in this when it gets down in the below 45 degrees and into the 30s. I feel like, just in terms of heat and in the insulating value of this, I found that when it's any warmer than like the mid 40s or so, this is too much insulation. You sweat too much. When I'm running, like really being real active, when I'm in the low 40s and definitely in the 30s, this is almost perfect to run in. So just to mention that so far in my use. The insulation, that while I'm on the heat and insulation part, it's a synthetic insulation that's done in sheets. And so you don't have to worry about it moving around on you. It stays in place and you don't have any like cold spots from insulation moving around. And I really do appreciate that about the garment. The other thing that I've noticed is the shell on the outside has a really tight weave. I like that because number one, it seems to repel water a little bit. It's definitely, they don't build it as waterproof or, like super water resistant, anything like that. But it does repel some water on late sprinkling, so you don't have to worry about the water soaking in right away. And also the wind, it's not quite to the degree of a windbreaker, but it definitely cuts wind, which makes the garment warmer in those windy conditions. So I noticed that about it right away. So those are some of the things that I like about the Ventus hoodie. And as far as use cases for this and why, I talked a little bit why I wanted this in my my kit. I think the two use cases for me are, this. In colder conditions, it can be a mid layer underneath my down puffy. In somewhat cold conditions, like kind of the end of spring, the beginning of the beginning of spring, or kind of the end of fall, in that kind of winter area, I think that it would be a great active layer on the outside to hike in when it is cold. And my running experience in this jacket kind of tells me that I was on point in thinking about that. So it's a great active layer in colder conditions, like in the winter even. And then I think the last part is, for me at least, is that it could cut down on having to take my puffy at times, and I'll have to play around with the temperatures and the weather and so forth on that. But I believe that there are times when I've taken my puffy when I don't quite need it, because it's just not going to be that cold, nor does it have the potential to be that cold, where this would be great to take with me as just the outer layer, like I would take a puffy and wear this insulated hoodie like that. So those are the uses that I feel that I would have for this garment, for this layering system from Outdoor Vitals, the Ventus hoodie. So I'm not to the point where I'm going to do a full review, but those are some of the things when I do the full review that I'm going to focus on, like how well did it work for these uses under what conditions. So you'll probably see that, I would say, in 2 to 3 more months once I get some actual backpacking done with this garment. And so I'm looking forward to be able to provide that information to you, my experience with the garment in future videos. So that is the first look at the Outdoor Vitals Ventus hoodie. Until next time, folks, get out there and do some hiking, do some backpacking, see some cool stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.